And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's episode of the tournament wrap-up. My name is OctanePro, and I appreciate you guys coming out tonight to join me. So tonight we're going to go over the tournament wrap-up, which is brought to you by Hi-Rez Studios, which if you guys are new to this portion of the stream, I come on directly after SMITE to go ahead and give you guys an update on the NA and EU scene from this week in regards to the tournament. Quick updates, some highlights on some of the videos, a little bit of competitive type of conversation. I'll then be following up this stream with a possible interview with Exeter Esports. We have 3 members from their team that are joining us for an interview. Kind of ask some questions that a lot of people have been thinking about as well. And let me go ahead, turn up my microphone there, get myself situated and ready to go ahead and dive in. So it looks like we're having, I want to check in chat. I'm a bit quiet. Test, 1, 2, 3. Oh, how do I sound now, guys? Do I sound good, bad, or ugly? Hopefully pretty. Hopefully pretty. Let me know in chat, guys. I can go ahead and make any adjustments necessary to help you guys out. Let me know. Am I quiet? Am I too quiet? Let's see here. Am I quiet? His sound is really loud as it is. So wait, I'm loud or quiet? I need chat to help me out here before I go ahead and make any adjustments to the show. You can hear me just fine. Some people say I'm quiet. Some people say I'm just fine. So please go ahead and refresh your streams maybe. I don't know. Raise your hands. All right, people are saying I'm fine. So please raise it there. People are saying I sound great. You guys have speakers. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and dive in. Please make sure if you're having audio issues, go ahead and adjust it. Some people say I'm good. Some people say I'm quiet. So either way, I'm beautiful, right? I'm beautiful. All right, guys, let's go ahead. We're going to dive in. We're not going to waste too much time here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the North American tournament this past week. And let's go ahead and bring up our brackets for that tournament. And here we go with the wonderful new website, by the way, guys. Go over to esports.smitegame.com. Go ahead and check it out. Some pretty cool stuff going on over there. This is the new overlay and look to the brackets. Pretty exciting. Let's go ahead and take a look at round 1. So at round 1 here, we actually had some buys. Cognitive Gaming NA, Panda Bears, Denial Esports, Exeter Esports, Reason Gaming, and Dusk Dominion. So taking a look through here, the grand finals ended up being Denial Esports versus Exeter Esports. 3rd and 4th place was between Cognitive Gaming NA and also Reason Gaming. So to take a look at kind of the route that Denial Esports took, first round they had a bye. Second round they went up and was victorious against Panda Bears. Third round they beat Cognitive Gaming NA, which is no easy game whatsoever. Then we go ahead and take a look at Exeter Esports. And for them, first round they had a bye as well. Second round versus Crimson Guards. And third round versus Reason Gaming. So let's go ahead and take a look at the grand finals, game number 1. So we did have Denial Esports went ahead and selected Hebo, Anher, Sobek, Jean Kui, and finally Odin. And the bands this week that Denial selected was Freya and Hercules. Moving on to their contenders, Exeter Esports, we had Neath, Mercury, Tyr, Guan Yu, and Agni. And in the past, we've seen Mercury in the last tournament. We saw Mercury actually, just came out, so he's kind of auto banned. Well, this week, oh my gosh, Mercury shined, and he did so well. So in all of the games, actually, throughout all the tournaments, and Exeter Esports went ahead and banned Athena and Thanatos. So in game 1 of the grand finals of the North American Weekly, we went ahead and saw pretty much, I'm going to call it the Denial Train, because that's what the casters were calling it. And we saw the Denial Train. It was a 5-man up group that scooted around the Gold Fury, which is kind of like Denial Esports' signature when it comes down to their gameplay. And they scooted around the Gold Fury to swoop in for the first kill. Let's go ahead and jump into this for you guys.
North American Tournament Series.
And as they head out of base here, kind of waiting to see if Denial is going to do a typical run out and invade. We talked about it a bit in the picking stage about how they typically just 5 men up and bail around behind the Gold Fury, and it looks like that is exactly what they're doing, 5-manning up and bailing around behind the Gold Fury, which is, I mean, at this point, is the same thing they do almost every game. I think everybody has caught on to this by now. Nobody is just going to stand in the general left jungle area where the 5-man denial train is going to come get them. But this does allow them to pretty safely ward up Exodus's jungle, which is helpful for them. Or they could walk right into it. Orgwan, you can walk right into it, dash away, and find a wall. You can get impaled and die.
So we see a beautiful like first kill go down there, and it's really cool to see like teams starting to develop their own like strategy, their paths on the map and everything like that. And so it's kind of cool. The casters named it the denial train that we saw this past yesterday, and it's really cool to see like teams starting to become known for some of their gameplay, some of their opening strategies, which is really cool to see that. So right off the back, 1-0 in favor of Denial Esports. As we move throughout the game though, Exodus Esports, we see actually grab a Gold Fury, which results in an instant Fire Giant. Like, Denial Esports sees, okay, they're going to go ahead and get Gold Fury. We're going to completely bypass it and go right for the Fire Giant. We see a Fire Giant attempt by Denial Esports around about the 27 mark of Game 1 of the North American Hi-Rez Weekly. And we have some interesting results leading to the winners of Game 1. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. This is a pretty cool video of a Gold Fury deference directly into the Fire Giant.
Graph. It was so far in favor of Exodus Esports. It seems we've come to the end of our range here. Now cut down to 600 gold. They're going to make a play here for this Gold Fury, and it looks like there's a fairly good chance that Exodus Esports is going to be able to get this before anybody rotates over here. So the peak will rise back up a little bit again. Now you see a 2k gold advantage spiked back in their favor, but what's to stop Denial from staying grouped up and pushing these towers down each lane? It seems that so far Exodus, even when they hard engage, cannot stop Denial from driving, and now Denial is going to make another move for the Fire Giant and see if they can force Exodus to come fight.
We'll see if Exodus can pull the sort of magic they pulled before. This Fire Giant is dropping very quickly. Exodus is going to need to get in here immediately if they want to stop this from happening. Fire Giant already down to about half of its health, but here is Exodus ready to mount a defense. Here is the Guanyu Horse of Freedom. The Tyr Justice Dog comes in as well. Tyr is juggling like a man right now. On her goes down. The Odin Ring gets dropped and canceled immediately. They're able to pick up Pon Pon after the Fire Giant steal. Chef Indla is down. Rush is in a bad situation getting carried. He's going to drop as well. Only Zhang Kui will escape the match.
So we pretty much see 15 to 20 in favor of Denial prior to this Fire Giant attempt. And then we see Exodus Esports come in and completely capitalize on this event, dominating. I mean, I'm going to put the word dominating in there. They dominated that and completely ganked it, took out the team completely, and brought it closer together about 19 to 20. We end up seeing Exodus Esports snowball directly off of that to go ahead and win Game 1. Starting out behind, but coming back and capitalizing, as I said before, on team fights. Team fights were a huge advantage for Exodus Esports over Denial Esports in that last highlight that we went ahead and saw. Now, if I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to give an MVP award in Game 1. That would go out to Barracuda, which was the Neath of Exodus Esports. The build for that Neath was Deathbringer Item 1. Which could have been swapped out, well, actually was swapped out as later on in the game. I apologize. Warrior Tabby, Executioner, Quinn Blades, and Titan's Bane. So let's go ahead and take a look at game number 2. This is the North American Hi-Rez Weekly highlights. And we saw Denial Esports versus Exodus. Exodus was up 1-0 at this point, and Denial decides, okay, we're going to go with Thanatos, Sobek, Anher, Hercules, and Alcom. But their bans are going to be Freya and Mercury, which is no surprise with Mercury there whatsoever. Taking a look, though, at Exodus Esports, they decide to go with Neath once again. Tyr, Loki, Ares, so really happy to see Ares making another appearance back into the competitive scene, and Hebo. Finally, the bans there, we saw Athena and Zhang Kui. So let's go ahead and take a look at game number 2. Quick overview of the game. So we see Denial take a great early lead, looking like night and day from game 1, where Denial is, and keep in mind, Denial is a team that is extremely good at adapting to their opponent. So yes, they lost game 1. It happens, very close game. But they are very, very good at adapting and making changes to their gameplay style, and you could definitely see that in game 2. We see a very, very aggressive playstyle, actually, for all of Denial in Game 2. And if we take a look, there's an amazing team fight by Denial at about the 21-minute mark, which puts them up 23-11 before this fight. And we'll actually see how this ends up turning out. So let's go ahead and jump into this one.
In that engagement, given the fact that Ao Kuang had used his ultimate, had used all of his cooldowns right before it started, and was nearly useless. Instead, they still try to burst him down, and they get themselves kited by him with the great peel that Rush was able to put out.
And now Thanatos trying to come in and get some kills here, getting bursted very hard. The Hemo ultimate is going to be a complete and total miss as Thanatos takes off into this guy. That is a huge ultimate that's been completely wasted. Now Tyr is just trying to juggle as hard as he can. Neath ultimate comes out onto Ao Kuang. Loki ultimate as well. But there's not a whole lot he's going to be able to do. He goes invisible, but the invisibility doesn't make you invincible. Standing in the Desert Fury, eating it in the mouth as Honor just rams spears down Loki's throat. Now Ionic getting chased down. He's not going to be able to get away from this one. They have more than enough damage to finish off that support tank. That's going to be a 3-for-0 trade, leaving just Neath and Tyr alive. Neath in a bad situation. Can Barracuda get out of this one? The charge prey is going to ensure her death. Down she goes. 4-for-0 in the right lane. Tyr is just left alive, wondering where life went so wrong.
Jeff Hindla is such a beast, making huge plays. You know, every single time. I talked about Rush Peel for Ao Kuang, but guess who else has been doing mad peel? Jeff Hindla. Every time Loki goes in on Mace, Jeff is there, charge prey. And in fact, Jeff has been hitting almost all of his charge prays. Jeff Hindla, an absolute solid player and asset in this game for Denial. They're going to take the Fire Giant and now look to drive down the right-hand side of the...
So what we do end up seeing is actually a surrender vote that does actually go down, and we see Denial actually take game number 2 there. And I don't know if you guys noticed, did you guys see the pinball effect that we see with Hercules' ultimate? And between the Fire Giant wall and the surrounding environment was this awesome pinball effect where Hercules tossed his giant baseball, and all of a sudden it's like boom, 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 and just nails all these people directly through the entire thing. Then finally, something else to point out there was Onher jumping back into lane after clearing out the other 3 members of Exodus, jumping back into lane, impaling Neath back in the opposite direction of the home direction for her, while the rest of the team comes in and just collapse, so which left like Tyr, which was like Tyr couldn't do anything. He was back at the start. They went ahead and got Fire Giant, surrender vote came down, and we saw Denial Esports go ahead and take game number 2. Taking a look here, game number 2, MVP has to go out to Payne Devontae, playing that on her for Denial Esports, 14-0, and it was 23 minutes into the game. Unbelievable. Very, very impressive. His build, for those of you guys interested, was Death Toll, Warrior Tabby, Quinn Blades, and finally Death Bringer. So following on from there, guys, looking at game number 3. So game number 1, we had Exodus Esports come out and do very, very well. They snowballed directly off of a Fire Giant. Game 2, we see Denial Esports roll up their sleeves, bring on the aggression, and take game number 2 very, very easily. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into game number 3. It's tied 1-1. Denial Esports comes out of the gate selecting Athena on her, Bacchus, Alkong, and Tyr. Following up from there, our bans are Freya and Mercury. Finally, for Exodus Esports, though, their picks are Fenrir, which you didn't see any Fenrirs yet in the grand finals, Artemis, Guan Yu, Sobek, and finally Agni. And the bans they selected, No Brainer, Zhangqi, and finally Thanatos. So taking a look at game number 3 of the North American Weekly Grand Finals, we go ahead and see pure domination by Denial. At 6 minutes, they are up 10-2. They're playing with huge pressure, huge offensive, aggressive playstyle, just like we saw in game number 2, and that continues all the way through the 30-minute mark for them to go ahead and take game number 3. And the only title I can give for this game is pure Athena ownage. Let's go ahead and take a look at this VOD. It was so much fun to watch.
But Tyr and Honor in the middle lane, and Ao Kuang here, all they need to do is catch one.
the Niles having some Vietnam flashbacks about trying to take the Fire Giant a little too early, so they're going to take the safe route this time. They don't want to make any risks here as they push in and destroy this mid tower. There's no way this is going to survive. Bon and Rush are in there just wreaking havoc while the rest of the team takes down the tower. And now Bacchus is going to go in with a hard initiate. There's the Intoxicate. Tyr is going to dunk as well, leaving Athena to come in. Pon's dunk is going to finish Athena. A great taunt is going to stop Artemis from getting away. Guan Yu ulted trying so hard to stop him. The Ao Kuang ult's not quite going to catch him, but he's just going to get beaten to death as Pon just 1v everybody's in Exodus's base while the middle Phoenix goes down.
Rush continues to chase on the left-hand side, catches the deicide there, and the surrender vote goes through, and it's denial.
So there it is. We see a surrender vote come down, but oh my gosh, that Athena gameplay, guys. Athena gameplay, unbelievable. So if I'm going to go ahead and give an MVP, it's going to be to Pon. No-brainer in that game, playing as Athena from Denial Esports. And take a look at this build, which a lot of people, say, oh, Lassus, amazing Athena, jungler style. Pon, don't go ahead and don't give him credit. He is badass on this. Take a look. His build goes with Bumba's Mask, Shoes of Focus, Breastplate of Valor, Focus Voidstone, and finally Polynomicon. So beautiful job there. Denial Esports ends up winning over top of their opponents there, Exodus Esports. We see 3rd and 4th place with Reason Gaming and Cognitive Gaming that did go ahead and end up there. So let's give our love, of course, to the EU scene. We did see the EU scene go down today. Thank you very much to the casters that did cast today's tournament. And let's go ahead and take a look at our brackets there. And here are the brackets for the EU side. Please note, guys, this can be found over at esports.smitegame.com. So go over, guys, esports.smitegame.com. You can go ahead and click tournaments at the top and view all the brackets that you're looking for. This is actually part of the new bracket layout. I really love it. It's real easy to follow, very simple, but very, very clean cut. So nice job by Hi-Rez for getting this done. Very, very good job on their part. So let's take a look at the round 1 buys. We see SK Gaming, Wellix Esports, Allied Fanboys, interesting name, Mortality EU, Aslam Gaming, I apologize if I'm butchering your name, guys, My Revenge EU, and Reality Virus EU. So let's go ahead and talk about the Grand Finals. Grand Finals, no-brainer. SK Gaming versus Mortality EU. Both very, very high caliber teams, very, very good at what they do. Mortality Esports EU gets a round 1 bye. They face off against Islam Gaming. And then round 2, My Revenge EU. Finally, for SK Gaming, the route ends up going a bye in round 1. Then we also see them go against F5 in round 2. And then they actually go ahead and go with Allied Fanboys for round 3 they face off against. And jumping into the grand finals here, let's take a look at game number 1. So game number 1, we see Mortality Esports EU come out of the gates picking Loki, Artemis, Isis, Sobek, and Thanatos. And then we see SK Gaming decide to go with Athena, Bakasura, Zeus, Apollo, and finally Guan Yu. So a quick overview of game number 1 of the EU Grand Finals of the Hi-Rez Weekly. We see a very, very aggressive lead by SK Gaming, leading about 6-3 about the 13-minute mark. But a Gold Fury attempt completely changes and sets the pace of this game. Let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at this.
Minutes right now, Brandon, and both the towers in right lane are down. Zalia's level 17 versus the level 14 Loki, level 12 Phoenix, and level 10 Sobek. Absolute destruction, and a character which, I mean, previously he had his 3 to 4 week streak where he was amazing when Sprint first came out. He was very, very strong on Bakasura, then just disappeared forever. Came back too strong with the buffs they gave him, brought him right back down. Zalia's like, you know what? I'm not going to play him in the jungle. I play him solo, and it's proven to be very, very scary. It's turning out to be one of the strongest plays from SK Gaming because every single game he's top farm, top damage, top kills, controlling everything. Initiation, Gold Fury gets stolen out by SK Gaming. Rotation come out. Ice ultimate, good placement, splits it. Zayla forced away. Thanos gonna come down. He's gonna get the dunk on top of somebody here. Goes down, gets the execute on the Bakasura. Initiation comes out there, goes top of Apidary down. Look at the HP bar. Smack double kill. Now going after Zeus on top of Dazer. There's the stack coming out. It's gonna be enough. Chain lightning will bounce between the Loki decoy as well as Loki himself. 2 charges. There's gonna be enough for the detonate. It's not gonna be enough. Just barely escaping. Artemis on the run here. Sun Touch coming through. Does he have a dash and a taunt? There's this dash. The detonate will be enough to stun her in place, which probably enough for the taunt as well. There's the detonate taunt coming through. There goes it. Might go for a kill. Turn on and Sun Touch gets blocked by Sayo. Sayo, perfect placement. Loki coming out. Does he?
So we see a beautiful cleanup there, puts SK Gaming even farther ahead in game 1. The last few seconds of this game, I do have to show you guys from game 1. We see that pace that SK Gaming is setting. You know, about the 13-minute mark, it was about 6-3. And then what we saw there, huge difference, about 14-8, give or take. There's still a chance, though, for Mortality Esports EU. But let's take a look at the last big event in game number 1 that determines the winners.
The team fight. He comes with the ultimate, goes for the silence, goes for the death side. I mean, just so much burst damage, but if they don't have that lead, and it's hard for them doing. So what can they really do? Guan Yu going to initiate here, force them away from the Phoenix, then guarantee the Phoenix kill. Chain lightning coming out. Thanos from the backside, going top of Smack. The death side is going to hit the minions. Ultimate coming out from the Zeus. Thanos is up in the air. There's no one to execute right now. Everyone's at full HP or half there on Sayo. He's going to jump right down. What's he going to do? Sobek's already dead. Loki's dead. Artemis back to the well. There goes the kill. Proxy gets Epidary, forcing him back. There's the Spirit Ball on 2 players. The Minotaur is exposed right now. Will he go down? Bakasura ultimate, and look at the HP go down. Minotaur has a heart attack, collapses on the floor. Mortality is now going to lose game 1.
So there's the GG. We see SK Gaming about 27-14 in game number 1. Goes ahead and gives them a 1-0 advantage. It's a best of 3. So we go ahead and see a 1-0 advantage in favor of SK Gaming over top of Mortality Esports EU. If I was to go ahead and give an MVP of that game, I'd have to go ahead and give it to Guan Yu of SK Gaming, who was played by Proxy QQ. The build we actually see on him is Bumba's Mask, Warrior Tabby, Focused Voidblade, Witchstone, Magi's Blessing, and finally Titan's Bane. Let's go ahead and take a look at game number 2. So don't count Mortality Esports out yet. They're only down by 1. We see SK Gaming during the picking phase go ahead and select Artemis, Agni, Zeus, Sobek, and finally Shablanke. Now the bans, though, they select Kronos and Tyr, which Kronos is pretty common. We're seeing more and more. We're seeing Kronos being selected as kind of that go-to ban. Like, oh, I'm not sure. Let's just go with Kronos. As for Mortality Esports EU, we see Athena, Anher, Naja, Vamana, and Alcon. And finally, for the bans, we see Bakasura and Zhang Kui once again. So, taking a look here, let's go ahead and look at the early game that we did see going ahead and going on. So in the early game, we go ahead and see Mortality Esports putting them up about 1-0. But within a few seconds, we see SK Gaming retaliating and turns that around to be a 2-1 just under the 5-minute mark. Let's take a look at this first kill sequence going on in game number 2 of the EU Hi-Rez Weekly.
Run right into it. There goes the press. The slow's going to come off pretty soon here, hugging the wall, no line of sight. The base guy's going to come through, not going to get it just in time, but here comes Agni right on top of the ward. There goes Naja as he sprouts out into his Blossom. Left lane 2v1 on her stuck here. Detonate comes out. Charge spray pretty soon. If the Impale comes out, does he have Desert Fury? A few basic attacks to finish off the Smack. He doesn't get blocked off enough by Sun Touch. Just did not work well together there as Smack ends up going down. Dazer comes out, knocking at the ultimate off as the basic attack from the Bolas is too much from Shibalanke. Mid lane, Ao Kwang.
So what we see there is a great turn of events. Right about the mid game there, we see SK Gaming leaving 7-2 over top Mortality Esports, and the domination occurs. It starts to trickle down. We go ahead and start to see this dominance with SK Gaming winning over top of Mortality Esports and almost everything that is thrown at them in game number 2. We go ahead and see SK Gaming push on to win it, going 2-0 in the entire series there of the best of 3. Congratulations to SK Gaming for going ahead and winning over top of their competitors there, Mortality Esports. So congratulations to SK Gaming there. Now, if I'm going to go ahead and give a MVP award, it's going to have to go to SK Gaming Xbalanque. Like, unbelievable. Unbelievable play was by Proxy QQ once again. And we see Bumba's Mask, Warrior Tabby, and finally Transcendence. So amazing, amazing job there by Xbalanque. Played beautifully throughout that game. And so this week, guys, we have some amazing winners. We have Denial Esports for the North American Hi-Rez Weekly winners. And on the other side of the pond, we see SK Gaming winning for the Hi-Rez Weekly EU tournament. You guys can catch these every Saturday and Sunday, so make sure you go ahead and check out the website esports.smitegame.com for both of these. Please make sure that you guys go check them out. You could sign up, you and your team can, or you can go ahead over there to watch, check out the stats, the brackets, the teams, the standings, everything. I will have this show next week. We'll go ahead and see this show will air on November 3rd. Same exact time, about 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern, which is the start of my streaming hour for Hi-Rez right here on Smite Game. It'll be at 7 o'clock, as I said before. If you guys have any questions, comments, recommendations for the show, feedback, please make sure you go ahead and email it over to smitewrapup@gmail.com. Finally, also, if you want to go ahead and check out more content by me, I have my own streaming website. It is OctaneProGaming.com, which is a community website. Once again, it's OctaneProGaming.com. And you can check out all of my VODs over there on YouTube. You can check out several of my Smite podcasts over there. My Twitter, what else we got in there? A few other odd and ends, so make sure you go check that out. OctaneProGaming.com. Finally, in chat, you can just do ! OctanePro, and that'll go ahead and give you all my information. Also, please make sure you go over, if you're not playing Smite, but you're checking it out, you're viewing it for the first time on this stream, go over and check out the game at smitegame.com. That's smitegame.com. You can go ahead and download Smite and play completely free. You'll also find Smite news, patch notes, player stats, and more over on their website as well. And stay connected with the Hi-Rez Smite crew. Check it out at facebook.com/smitegame and also twitter.com/smitegame. Stay tuned, guys. I'm hoping to do an interview with a few members of Exodus Esports. We're going to go ahead and do some viewer games and end out the night right about 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern with an 800 gem code giveaway. Stay tuned, guys. I'll see you in a few minutes.